What are the side effects of hearing loss, especially when it's not treated? Audiologist Dr. Gnewikow gives us the answers.
And one of the most important is the decline in cognitive function. By cognitive, I mean your brain function. A study that was published in Archives of Neurology that was done at Johns Hopkins found that people that have hearing loss as they age have a much greater likelihood of developing dementia. And this was a study of about 3,000 individuals over several years. Another study that was done at the University of Bordeaux in France took two groups of people about the same age as they were senior citizen level. One group had normal hearing for their age. The other group had hearing loss but had been wearing hearing aids during that time and had some degree of rehabilitation. That was group A. Group B were a group of people, same age, that had hearing loss but for whatever reason had not done anything about it. Cosmetics, machoism, financial, whatever. When they tested their cognitive function, group A, there was no difference between the individuals who had hearing loss and the ones that had no hearing loss because they were using hearing aids. But when they looked at group B, they found there was a statistically significant difference, meaning a loss of cognitive function for those individuals. The study has also been replicated in a very similar fashion at Columbia University in New York, where they did studies of cognitive decline in individuals over time and found that people that had hearing loss had significant cognitive decline. And that was published in the American Journal of Geriatric Psychology. So there really is a strong relationship between cognitive dysfunction, dementia, and the lack of adequate auditory input. It becomes a real problem when we see people who already have dementia or they've been diagnosed as dementia and they come in and the family is throwing up their hands. They're saying, I don't know if Daddy just doesn't understand me or it's his dementia that's giving me all of these unusual answers. And in many cases, these people do have hearing loss. I know of one situation last year where we had a fellow come in and he was a little reluctant, I guess, to bring his father in because he had dementia. We put hearing aids on his father because he had a significant loss. Later on, the son talked to us and he was in tears because his father had changed so much. Now, did the dementia go away? No. But the problem was he didn't know which was which. And a lot of what he was defining as the dementia in his father was not the dementia at all. It was just the fact that he didn't understand. You have to realize now, all people that have dementia don't have hearing loss, and all people that have hearing loss don't have dementia. But there is a very strong correlation between the two. And unfortunately, they can coexist.
So how would somebody know then you're dealing with the hearing loss and not the dementia? Are there any specific signs?
Well, not really. If we evaluate the individual and we find this person has a significant hearing loss which is affecting their comprehension ability, and we put hearing aids in their ear, and all of a sudden they start to respond much more appropriately, then I think the best way is just through trial and error. But that's what you see in many of these individuals. It's interesting that in a lot of the nursing homes, you'll see a lot of people with dementia and a lot of people that have hearing loss. Again, it doesn't mean that all of them have hearing loss or all of them have dementia or they all coexist, but it does mean that there is a much greater probability for mental decline. The real problem is that when people do not have good auditory input because their hearing is impaired, a large proportion of those individuals have mental decline as a result of it. So do we solve all the problems of dementia? Of course we don't. But at least we can help one aspect that's probably a contributing factor to the dementia.
And is your brain getting a bit of a workout then, if you can hear things? You know, like you're not keeping yourself happy without hearing things.
And I think that makes a lot of sense because a part of the decline may be social isolation. And a lot of times, I don't think that's all of it. There's also possibilities that there could be some structural abnormalities. I don't think all of the information is in yet. We clearly know that there's a relationship between the two, but certainly when you don't hear well, it does affect your interaction with other people and it does cause isolation, and those things do have a cognitive effect on most people.
And if you'd like to learn more, you can drive by or hang out at the Langhorne Road location in Lynchburg, call them 434-528-4245. Also, they have a location in Danville on Main Street, 434-799-6288. Also online at digitalhearingforyou.com.